Oh my goodness, Esther, so good to see you. Thank you,
Good,
thank you, thank you for being here tonight.
good
I'm
to see you, Liz. Thank
so good
you.
to see you. So excited to get started and to just have this moment with you and kind of re-engage after you took the beginner class in May, and now it's been a few weeks since that finished. And tell me a little bit about what has been going on for you since we last saw you.
So, a lot's happened. So, I've been on summer break. I'm an educator and I've had summer vacation. So, for the month of July and August, um, it's kind of amazing how actually time has flown by. So, for the month of July, the second half of the month, I got to travel a bit to Europe, which was amazing. Um, yeah. And, it's interesting because despite, being I was following the plan, sticking to 100 carbs a day, probably going over a little bit, but I was walking so much that it didn't really have an impact on my weight. I actually surprisingly lost weight, even though I thought I was actually eating more than I usually do. But then again, I was also more active, so it all kind of worked out. Yeah, and then
Magical pull of the pillars, right? Like
yes.
that's what I've always been trying to inundate people with is like, oh, you can lean on one to kind of let you have a little bit more fun in Europe
Mhm.
eating things, right? But you're more active. So it's not an eraser, right?
Mhm.
It's sort of a fact of life, which is
Right.
like, but I'm moving more. And what I find about vacation is, and this is a perfect topic because people are on vacation or coming back from vacation, is we think we're eating more, but we're actually eating less
Right.
because we're not snacking. We're not like just walking down to the kitchen and grabbing something. We're not eating off our kids' plates. Like, so we actually, if you like, could wear a camera on your lapel of like what you're eating, it probably actually worked out to be pretty great if you were
Right.
even focused on it at all. So that's
Right.
cool.
Yeah, it was interesting. Also, I just think possibly like in Europe, I just felt like the food was fresh, less preservatives. Yeah, and I wasn't snacking, but I was having sit down proper meals and enjoying myself. So, and also I kind of went in the mindset too, Liz, where I think for me being on Target 100 has helped me understand that even if I'm a little off track because I'm on vacation, so be it. Like I really wasn't. I didn't really track, because I've been pretty good about writing down. Yeah, and it really worked out well, for July. But August, this past week, I was actually in Los Angeles visiting with a lot of family. I had a wedding to attend, and though I wasn't tracking, I was still remaining active. And when I checked the scale, it wasn't exactly what I wanted, but that's okay. Like I'm kind of like I knew I had this mindset of like I'm looking forward to kind of getting back into a regular schedule, and I start work again next week. So today was like a recalibration day, and it felt pretty good. So I
Oh, I
wasn't.
love this.
Yeah.
I love the language that you're using. I love everything about this. It's like you were on a break, you were with family, which, we try to teach you in that sort of beginner's course that you kind of just went through, is that there are different triggers, right? There are emotional, there are environmental, there are, habitual, and family happens to be a little bit of all of those.
Hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Historical is another
Yeah.
trigger. Historical eating with family members. Just like, oh, when we get together, we eat this or we do that or we do this. So I think family eating is always the hardest. And I think August, I think people don't really understand that August is the December of weight loss. It's and so when you start to recognize August as this sort of like month that kind of goes out into the ether,
Hmm.
right? And you accept that. And that's why I started with, I love the language that you're using. I love the way that you are accepting that I don't see my family all the time. Like I wasn't tracking. Please don't track when you don't see, right? Like please
Hmm.
don't. Like that is a tool that is available to you when you return if you should need it. It's always
Mhm.
available. But
Right.
to instead embrace that. And I always kind of like, I'm trying to get my amazing teammate Sylvia. I sent her this whole visualization of what a year in weight loss looks like, and August is always just like a small bump up.
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
So
I
go
yeah,
ahead.
well, I had just listened also recently to the recording of, I think, one of the workshops that you ran recently about kind of transitioning back into fall.
Yeah.
And it gave me such relief because in my mind, I already know, maybe I'll gain a pound or two. It's not the end of the world. I'll be with family and then I'll recalibrate. And then when I saw that workshop, I was like, oh, good. I'm not the only one. I'm like,
No,
oh, this is a
no.
normal, common occurrence for a lot of people. So,
And we
uh,
try to be truth tellers here at Target 100, right? Like, and again, like, I like to think of weight loss as an accordion, right? Like if you were like gonna expand out and then you press it back down, and then sometimes, and then you learn, if we would look at last August, oh, it would have been way out here. And then you tried to press it back down. This August, with your new tools, we only expanded to here, and now we're pressing back in, not
mhm,
only because you have the skills and you have the support of your community and all the rest, but because you actually have created habits, even on your vacation, where you were moving more and you were more active. Like those things create this, what I call moat around the castle. I say it in my book, right? Is like, because you moved more, the weight gain just wasn't as much, because you drank water, because you checked in with your fullness, because you, all of the things that you're establishing, that accordion couldn't stretch out as high. It just went, a little bit out. And now we have the full skills to kind of just say, what do I need to do to re-engage, and just kind of like, and I was just in Greece, right?
mhm.
I borrowed some weight. I'm
So,
sending
okay,
it
but
back. I'm
I like
sending
that.
it back express mail, right? You're not mad at me for going to Greece and experiencing
Right.
food and the culture and being with my family and not exercising as much. And, you're not mad at me, right?
Mhm.
So I, you guys have borrowed, it's all good. It's all good. The release of the tension around it makes you very excited to come back and re-engage.
Mhm. Definitely.
So when you think about re-engagement, the thing I think is super powerful is to re-engage with the feelings that you get around doing the things that you've learned from Target 100. And when we connect there, we want to do them. But when
Mhm.
we connect from a place of punitive negativity, I need to lose weight. So like when I got back from Greece, I was like, oh, I can't wait for just like the energy and so for you, what is it that you want to reconnect to?
Um, for me, definitely, I think just like routine. As much as I love vacation, it throws me off. Like my routine is I like to get up in the morning. I like to go for a walk. I like to listen to a podcast. And then that's my like summer routine. And then like when I head back to work next week, like I'll do the walk, but I also want to be able to do meal prep. I could
Mm,
meal prep. So that was like that was frustrating. Not frustrating in a sense of like, I need to like, you know, be vigilant about this, but it's more of like, oh, there's certain foods I actually like to eat and that make me feel good, that don't really make me feel heavy but sate me. It's like there were certain things that I'm like, oh, I kind of miss eating my yogurt in the morning, you know? So getting back to routine, I think I'm gonna enjoy that. Also just how everything is interconnected. So I slept pretty well, right? Like, but and it was pretty stress free, but I don't think I'd like to kind of get back into the whole cycle of how everything interconnects with each other. I think I ate maybe a little too much sugar or like things with sugar, and I'm really excited that everything sort of synced into place, Liz. When I looked at the Target 100 community page, I had read about the take out, like, removing the sugar from your diet, like the whole
We have
challenge.
a challenge coming up. Yeah.
As I was like sucking a Werther's, I'm like, oh, that's a yeah. So it's time. Like I was like, oh, that works out perfectly. So, I indulged in some sweets while I was away. And to be honest with you, each time I did indulge in some sweets, I didn't feel as good the next day. So I know that feeling of like removing some of the sweets and feeling a little bit more energetic, a little bit more focused. I'm looking forward to that.
I love it. Well, I'm going to tell you a secret. I've been doing this for a long year. I know this part of the year tends to be a sugar expansion, right?
Mhm.
Even, just like more ice cream or going on a vacation and this, and then that uptick in sugar actually then you don't really recognize it, but you did today. It's like the Werthers are sneaking back in, or the bites of this, or whatever it is. In the past, for me, it was extra, like putting sugar in my coffee, like again, like being like, oh, I did that on vacation, now I'm going to do it while I'm at home, right? Those little things, they expand in August, and that's why we planned this sugar challenge, just to give you that moment of support and accountability to say, I gotta really like, awareness is
Mhm.
all that it is about. The fact that you noticed the Werthers, the fact that you were like, oh, so those tiny bits of sugar just make us crave more sugar. And we don't really recognize it until we put that sort of stake in the ground and say, I'm gonna like take 7 days and clear myself of this. So that's why we've launched this thing, is because honestly, I know it so well. And I put it there because I don't want guilt and shame around this, right? Again, think of the accordion. How many grams of sugar would you have had if you hadn't even been paying attention, if you hadn't done the beginner's course, if you hadn't like made these changes? I wish, like, that's why I'm so about the data. It's like that we had the data from years past, because we would look at Esther's data and it would be like, oh, you were 30% better this year, or 50% better this year. So and you have the wherewithal to say, okay, right, now we take that and we go, okay, the Werthers are there, and then we go to the skills that you learned, right? And we start with environment, and we just go, okay, if the Werthers are in my environment, I'm not going to win. Like, I'm not going to win, right? So it's like, what do I need to do in the next couple of days just to kind of like get the stuff out of my environment that helps me just not have the cravings, and when I see it, not have this pull to have it. So that's a little bit of this process.
Yeah, I definitely I have some neighbors, good friends, and they like to go for walks. So I'm just gonna slowly but surely transfer. And they don't have the same, like they don't have the same issues I do as like with sugar. So like I'm like, okay, like have at it.
There
Yeah.
you
And
go. Look what I've got. I brought you a treat.
also, it occurred to me too, is like I have these keto bars that are sold at Costco that are actually they're also 5 carbs, but they're so much more fulfilling and satisfying and chocolatey. And I'm like, why would I have a Werther's when I can have like this keto bar? So it's like in my mind mentally, I'm like, why do I even have this? So yeah, I'll slowly kind of gift them because they don't really need to be in my space. And I also like I'm not a person that can just throw stuff out. Like I can't waste food like that.
Yep.
So I'd rather just like gift it and give it
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
Or tuck it away, and because I have a little candy bowl at work for my students, so I'll just throw it in there. But yeah, again, I'm like trying to I'm on this mission of putting healthier snacks in the bowl. The kids pick healthier things. Like I need to be mindful of that as well. So
Amazing. Amazing.
yeah,
Look at you, like the moving that health forward even to your students. I love
yeah,
it.
yeah, definitely.
I wrote down something also that is so important. Like, and I experienced it after coming off of Greece, was like, I just miss my life.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
I miss my breakfast and my, like, I just,
My
that's
food.
right, right.
Yeah.
You're So when you say that, let's just reiterate for yourself, like, and this is what I do in a lot of coaching calls, which is say, like, let's just reiterate what like the greatest day in Esther's life looks like, in terms of like how at the end of the day, when you lay your head on the pillow, you sleep well and you
Mhm.
wake up the next day feeling like, man, that was a great day for me. What does it look like? Just start to
Uh,
finish.
okay. Waking up, cup of coffee, reading the New York Times, going for a walk, at least an hour, listening to either a podcast or book on tape. That's like one of my favorite, like just decompressing kind of activities, and getting my steps in. So that's perfect. And then if I didn't have, this is like on a non-work day, like on a Saturday per se, I would possibly like, prepare like a salad or something kind of light for lunch, with a lot of protein. I like my chicken. I like cottage cheese. The wisps, like those little
Yeah.
Parmesan crisps, like those are great. I
Yeah.
love those. Yeah, just preparing a nice salad with a lot of different vegetables. And then this is like, I know, I don't need it, but I like taking naps. Like I like quick naps. Yeah. And then possibly even going for a bike ride. It was funny. This one weekend, a couple weekends ago, I did like a mini triathlon, very modified triathlon of my own sorts. After my walk, and I did a little bit of a jog also with that walk. I ended up it was such a nice day that I decided to ride my bike to this beautiful facility nearby Riverbank State Park. They have a beautiful indoor pool.
Yes.
I went for like a 30-minute swim. Got to observe some like senior citizens like rocking out like this like water aerobics class like on the side. So it was fun. Yeah, and then I took my little shower, rode my bike back. Yeah, and then maybe like having dinner with friends. So it's kind of like that is like my ideal day. I know it doesn't sound, it's not like super cultural or very New Yorky of me, but it's so simple and it's so basic, but I really enjoy that. I like
Love it.
yeah, it's like a
Love it.
peaceful yet um energized kind of day, where if I'm eating clean, then I know that night I'm gonna sleep like a rock. Like that's gonna be, yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, I love hearing that. I love knowing the thing that's most important for me with Target 100 is that people begin to know themselves
Mhm.
and unapologetically be themselves, right? Like, this is your life. And I think a lot of diet mentality and diets of the past have asked you to kind of like fit you into some sort of square peg into a round hole, right?
Right.
And I think that with a day like that, the joy and centering and peacefulness that you experience, what it leads to is honestly eating less because you're not searching for fulfillment from
Hmm.
food around you or an alcohol around you. Like, you're fulfilled. And that's such a big part of what I teach is like, how can we bring you closer to you? How can we let you unapologetically be you? Because I say this in all of my webinars, it's like it was never about the food. It was
Hmm.
never about you not knowing, maybe I should have an apple instead of a Snickers bar. Like, you can Google search the food plan, right?
Hmm.
Can we help you really latch on to what is meaningful for you so that you can begin to touch base with what are real hunger signals versus hunger signals that are being triggered by people, history, tiredness,
Yeah.
emotions, right? And that's why I asked that question and asked you to outline that, because I want you to be very confident and very solid in what's meaningful to you and not to somebody else, right?
Hmm.
You were pretty clear that like this feels like I want to kind of like reinvigorate and kind of get back to a few things that in August this little accordion goes like this, and you're like, I'm ready to bring it back here. um,
Hmm.
as you say that and as you think about going back to school and the schedule that brings forth for you, um, when you made that statement, tell me what that meant. Like, what does that mean? Is that
Well, it's funny because like usually I'm the person that for the first week of July, where we're on like a summer vacation, I'm like, yay, I love not having to go to work. And then by the first week in August, I'm like, okay, like when's it time to go back to work? I like routine.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
it, and I feel my job is very fulfilling. It can be exhausting, but I do love what I do. So like I actually look forward to going to work. I like my colleagues. Like I feel very fortunate that I'm in a profession where I get to support students and adults and parents and whatnot. But for me, like just getting up and having the routine is critical because the expansion in August, like I think for me, I do hit a certain point where I'm like, I need structure. I need that external structure. So environmentally, it helps me. And I also think, like going back a little bit to what you said about August, I think in the past when I've had more of the diet mentality, like if I gained a pound or two on vacation, I would have been like, oh, screw it. What's the point? Like, it's like I would go into the negative spiral of thoughts of like, oh, you work so hard and then you just blew it. Like, what's wrong with you? And I would have like this like little shame spiral.
Yeah,
So
mean girl. She is so mean, right?
yeah, terrible, terrible. What a bully. Oh, I definitely am okay with the fact that, and I know for me too, Liz, like my whole weight loss has been like kind of like it's been there's a downward trend, but I've had like ups and downs and I've been okay with that. Like I know that's just part of weight loss and that there's never going to be like a straight line that it's if I go up and down, it's just the way I'm losing weight and I'm okay with that. So, August is like a little bit of a dip up, but I know the trend is going to go back down and I feel confident about it. So it's nice to feel confident that awesome, I'm going to have my structure back when I go back to work. I'm already back onto tracking my carbs because that for me it actually is tremendous. It helps a lot. And I don't find it like overbearing at all. Like I
Great.
just find I like the routine of it. So yeah, there are a lot of things I'm kind of looking forward to. So
I love it. I would like a little like from the community. I see a lot of people kind of starting to chime in, and I love it when they chime in on this. But like, let's get like an amen for all of us that actually enjoy routine. Okay, like why do I teach Target 100 in the beginner course? Your brain is wired for routine. It does not like lack of routine. It likes to know what's coming next. It likes to know. That's why I teach the 5 5 5. Come up with 5 breakfasts, 5 lunches, 5 dinners. Give your brain what it wants. Like give it the routine and the repetition that it really does crave, especially because it reduces decision fatigue. So what you're experiencing right now is like, and I did in Greece was like, where are we going to eat dinner? What is this grocery store? What do we buy at this Greek grocery store? I don't know what these foods are. I can't read it. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, love it for a period of time, but then craving returning to a routine. And I wrote this down. A routine of confidence and freedom was what I really heard from you. Was like, I think we demonize it in this process of like, listen, I love my little egg breakfast, or like I'm loving now that I've been to Greece, like I'm so back on Greek yogurt, and like I'm just like Greek yogurt is everything. I'm using it on every meal, right? Like, and I'm just like, oh, I love routine and I'm okay with eating the same thing over and over. And I'm fine with that because I love it.
mhm.
So I love that you've kind of connected with the fact that you love routine. Your brain, guys, all of our brains love routine, and that's fine. Think about if you have children. I have children, like everything in my life revolved around routine when they were little. It was like, oh my God, don't break the routine. Because what happened if I put them to bed a little bit later? All hell broke loose because our brains don't want that. So I like to honor my brain as much as I can without disrupting it and making myself happy. And then being able to manage those times when August or December, or maybe there are more parties and there's more this and there's more that, being able to say, like, guess what, this year I'm going to tell you, like, my vacations used to be the accordion went out to here, and then it went out to here, and then it
Mhm.
went out to here, and then it went out to here, and now it's very small. Like, I come back with a pound or two that I'm sending back, and I can't wait to get back on my routine, and I exercise on vacation, right? So what you've just done is so spectacular, of like the recognition and the holding on to, even while in an expansion phase, you hold on to everything that you can, so that when you come back, you're not reestablishing habits.
Right. Like I kept up with, drinking my water. The best thing is actually, in talking about Target 100, when I went on vacation in July, I was with friends, and, I was just kind of talking about just drinking enough water, and they were so intrigued, and I contacted everyone else. They were like, "Oh, well, they brought along their bottle of water when we went on this whatever tour." And so it was nice to have that indirect support. Yeah, and just like knowing and being able to explain the rationale, and like letting them know how it has changed the way I feel, and how I love in your book, Liz, how you say, if there are people who fall off track for whatever reason, because life happens, and they try to get back into, like, the if they want to get back into healthier living, the number one thing to do is drink water, focus on that. And it's
Yeah.
been, yeah, that's been the consistent. And I feel like it definitely helps ground me out of everything. Because when I drink more water, I just feel fuller. I'm not nibbling on stuff that I don't need to nibble on. And when I feel better, it's like I feel like I get better sleep. And then when I get better sleep, I want to work out. So yeah, the like routine is everything. I mean, I'm a school psychologist. Like I
Well,
like have to like preach like why routine is so important, but I also sort of follow it in my own kind of life so that it helps. Yeah, so there's always like this domino effect of how like one thing can really set off and trigger a healthy habit, and then another healthier habit. So I'm excited. And also I think I may, with COVID numbers going down, and hopefully with a new vaccine booster that's going to target the variants, and I think they're saying after Labor Day, from what I've been hearing in the news. Yeah, which is sooner rather than later. I think I'm kind of almost ready to go back into a gym setting. Yeah, because I've been working out at home. I have kettlebells, I have a stationary bike, but I'm really excited at the prospect of just showing up somewhere and focusing on getting in an efficient workout, and then going, and then having the rest of the day, so yeah, so I'm looking forward to that this fall.
that's amazing. Okay, so we have like a sort of a little bit of a goal outline kind of coming clear to me, right? Like, it feels like in the next week of your life, and I'm always trying to really structure things for people so that they can have a real idea around, in our coaching calls, around like, what does the next 7 days of my life look like, right? Like let's not get too far out, but like, I think I'm starting to get ready. Like, on the horizon, there's this like idea of getting back in the gym. And that's super exciting. And it gives you that whole thing to kind of like to focus on. And then we want to take a look at like, just in the next 7 days of my life, what do I want to see happen? So when I say that to you, like, this, I always want to make this a very small, and I do this, by the way,
Mhm.
20 years in, and having been through all of this, and all the weight that I've lost, and been through so many cycles, I look at the next 7 days of my life, and I love to look at it on a Thursday. Like, I love that we're having this conversation. I don't want to look at it Sunday night, because Sunday night I'm like already in the barrel of the gun for Monday.
Mm.
So like, I was taking my run this morning and sort of thinking about like, how do I think about this now, and what small nugget of information can I share? And that is that Thursday is when I'm thinking about next week instead of Sunday. if that's
Mhm.
helpful, because I found that Sunday made it really stressful. And
Mhm.
by Thursday, I already knew what was kind of going on this week. So it gave me that perfect Thursday or Friday morning to say, okay, what do I really think about next week? So let's just talk briefly about like those 7 days of your life, the Monday through Sunday of next week, based on
Mhm.
what you're seeing happen this week, based on that turn of the dial that we want to take, which is always a very small turn. If you did 10,000 steps, maybe you're moving to 10,500 steps. Like, what is that? What are in the pillars? What are those tiny turns that you want to make?
Hmm. I think the one thing I have not focused on in the past uh, during work is like stress, and actively, it's funny because I'm a school psychologist. The irony, like I don't address my own stress. I'm too busy focusing on everyone else and their stress.
Yeah.
So
And you're probably energetically a sponge, so you're taking on their stress.
yeah, definitely.
You have
And
to focus on
exercise.
healing you of it.
Yeah, exercise has always been my number one stress reliever. So it's kind of funny because I feel like I'm cheating a little bit, Liz, when I see my wheel and I'm like, okay, I got, a lot of steps in. I got my 30 minutes of exercise and then the stress part is like always like empty. So I need to I think what I would like to try actually, especially since I go back to work next week, is just maybe a little bit of meditation and breath work in the morning, um, and in the evening actually. Like I should cap off my day and sorry,
That's okay.
my
No
sort
worries.
of call there. Okay.
That's
Um, I want to focus on more like actual considered like stress relief in other formats other than exercise. Like that exercise, I get that done. But um let's see. I
I
think
love
I'm
I love that you're a school psychologist because, you know, that helps us in that like you can imagine yourself in the role of you're talking to you
right.
and what
Right.
would you say to you, right?
Uh-huh.
So I always say like when I'm struggling, I say, what would I say to my best friend? Like,
Exactly.
what would I tell my best friend to do? And so I think we can turn that really nicely onto you of like, so if this is on your mind, it's obviously something that you want to begin to work on. And so let's think about now that we've kind of identified that this is on your mind, how do we trigger, right? Because you can want to do this all day long, but until we actually trigger the routine, it will not happen because it's just not our routine. So,
Hmm.
how do you feel like, and what do you feel like would be the most powerful, um, triggers for you? I'm in the same boat. I've been like, I'm in a very stressful part of building a small business into something larger. And there's so many things. And I just was like, you know what? I'm committing. And I started last week to get back to breath work.
Mm.
Right. And the solid, like sit on the ground and like do it, the 27 minutes, David teaches it. We've got recordings on the subscription site. Like I did it on Sunday. I'm going to do it again on Sunday. And so how do like that just became my focus of like as we go back in the fall, the kids go back to school for me, you go back to school for you, like all of my life expands. We start beginners courses in September. Like my days get busier, but I need to solidify something now so that when mid September hits, it's already a part of my routine.
Right. I
So
think for me, just first thing in the morning,
first
like
thing in the morning, okay.
first, right, my alarm goes off. I always check. I wear my Fitbit at night, so I always check. Like I'm kind of obsessed with my sleep analysis. Maybe a
Me
little bit,
too.
a
Me too.
little,
I love it.
yeah. But like, and I have a question about that actually, the sleep analysis.
Yeah.
But when I look into the sleep analysis, whenever it always has like the is the section on the phone that on the screen where it says like mindfulness, like if you there's a section there,
Yes. Yeah.
that I really like, because I remember I happened to open it. I'm like, what is this? Because I had just downloaded the premium, subscription. And so it was like a Deepak Chopra 5-minute breath work, kind of like quick, like just audio. And I'm like, oh, what's this? I press play. I'm like, oh, like this is another tool. So, just using that, could be like something simple in the morning. I find in the middle of the day, I don't take breaks from work. Like I'm supposed to take like 40 minutes off for work,
Yeah.
just have lunch, but I don't do that. So I'm actually going to start doing it. Because I don't, it's like work gets so busy, but you know what? I think I can lean on my colleagues and just make sure the administrators know that this period I'm not here. Like I'm going to probably step out of my building, step out of my office, go for a walk, and just at least take 20 minutes to myself to do that.
Wonderful.
And I think, I will conscientiously not think about work for those 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to give you like a little tip about that. So two things, like your habit is not to do that.
Right.
So we have to trigger it and
Mhm.
teach the people in our lives that we're not going to be there. Right. So in the beginning, it will be disruptive for you personally because this is not your
Mhm.
habit. And you'll be like, I don't want to go outside. I don't want to do that. I want to sit here. I got to send some emails. I want to do whatever I do. I just want to scroll through CNN or whatever it is. Right. You will have a temper tantrum. That's just how habit formation rolls. Okay. I prepare you for that. You need to trigger it by, setting that appointment on your calendar or an alarm on your phone that says walk outside.
Mhm.
You'll do that for a few times and then you will start to go like, oh, now I'm not disrupted by it. I actually understand the value of it. The brain does, not you. You intrinsically already know the value of it. Your brain doesn't. And so it gives every shocking, horrible thought about how bad this will be in order to keep you from making that change. And then you go out and do it and you do it repeatedly. And then the brain goes like, oh, routine, I love you. We know what to do when it's lunchtime, I do this, right? So just kind of thinking through how will I trigger that? What is it that I need to do? Because like you said, you're going to have to train your colleagues. I'm not,
Yeah.
I
Right.
have lots and lots of teachers. I'm thinking specifically of a woman that I helped where, she actually would sit in her classroom and she would get her lunch interrupted every single day because everyone knew she was there. So they'd come over and ask her advice. Kids knew she was there. They'd come and ask for her to help them and tutor them and whatever. And so we turned this thing where we would pull down the shade and turn out the lights for her. And then she would be able to eat her lunch, talk to people.
Oh, Liz, sorry. I think you're frozen for a second here.
So important for you, right? It's going to be one of these things that rejuvenates you. It re just sort of reinvigorates the rest of your day. So
Yeah. Sorry,
yeah,
Liz. Whatever reason, my connection just got frozen here, but I get the gist of what you're saying in terms of just, you know, how important it is to like actually set the stage for success. Like if you want to take the break, and I'm supposed to, but I always feel like there's so much work that has to get done. I feel this pressure and then guilt if I'm not available. So I'm just not going to feel guilty.
good.
I need just at least 20 minutes to like clear my head. And I find that in the past, whenever I did get up and go, it was just, I was able to clear my mind and kind of start fresh. So, and I tell that for kids who have ADHD, like if you can't focus, take a walking break, give yourself 2 minutes, come back, sit down, and hopefully you'll be refocused by then. So, it's like I should follow my own, I need to follow my own advice is what I need to do.
Well, and that's it is that's all I was driving home is like that no guilt, no shame. right? You have a habit that is to not step away. It's
Mhm.
just a habit. So now to start that new habit, you have to trigger it, and then that becomes your routine. And I
Right.
think the thing I have learned is that, and especially even in my own life, is when I walk away, I have a 30-minute lunch break in every single day. And I go
Mhm.
downstairs and I make lunch. And I usually, right when it's good weather, I sit outside and I play with my dogs. And
Mhm.
I come back and I'm a rejuvenated person.
Mhm.
But when I don't do it, when I work through it, I have diminishing results. I am less productive. I am less creative. I am less connected. So I just love to think about how do we bring this into all of our lives as we go into this next period, because guys, warning, September hits like a ton of bricks. It hits like a ton of bricks for those of you guys who are going, from a light August of work. Like, I'm in weight loss. Nobody wants to hear from me in August. They're just like, "Brr, brr, I don't know you. What's your name?" And then in September, it's like, oh my God, I need to deal with August. Like, so I'm about to get very, very busy. I have to hold on to the things that matter and that keep me centered and grounded. Okay. So,
Mhm.
how do you deal with food prep as a teacher, like as someone in education? Like, how do you deal with meals? Because I know I have a lot of teachers who would really
Mhm.
value your thoughts and how you've handled that piece of this.
Yeah. So I, I'm an early bird. I like to get up early in the morning. So what I do every morning is, as I'm making my coffee, I start doing meal prep. Like, I never, and I can never eat first thing in the morning. I'm the type of person that I have to have my coffee. I get to work, and I actually carry like this large, like cooler bag that has my breakfast and my lunch and all my water. So it's like I come in and I like to get all my groceries. I shop online. I go to Amazon Fresh and I get all my groceries delivered because I find that there are just times where I can't make it to the grocery store. I could, but I'm also like, why when I could just have it delivered straight to my door and not deal with that extra step? And it's
But
great
more
because
importantly to me is like the other day I was walking by, like, bakery sign was like 2 for 1. Like,
it,
I could smell it and I was like, I should bring this home for Benji and Cooper. And I was like, oh my God, did you hear that? You're trying to negotiate bringing home bakery cookies because they're 2 for 1, which is like such a joke that they're trying to get you to do this. Take their old cookies home, like, and eat them like a garbage disposal. Like,
Mhm.
I had to, like, because that doesn't happen when you
Yeah,
when you do your stuff online.
online shopping because I find that because I live in New York City and when you go to the grocery store, groceries are really expensive. And when you shop on Amazon Fresh or even Whole Foods, I find that the prices are actually a lot more reasonable. And I've always had good success with getting like good fresh produce. So I'm like, okay, this is a win-win. Like this
Win-win.
yeah, eliminates any kind of temptation. I don't see the chocolate bars like as I'm checking out, like, oh, sticker. Nice to see you, old friend. Like I don't do any of that. It's nice to kind of like just eliminate lots of triggers for not eating healthy. And it's more efficient for me. So I and also the greatest thing is from Amazon Prime, when you order groceries, they have all your old orders, you
Yes.
know, and it takes me 2 seconds. I need to get my milk, I need my eggs, I need my Greek yogurt, so that helps. There's certain things
Yogurt.
I do love Greek yogurt. I
I'm
love, and
obsessed.
I'll go to Costco too, like once every few weeks, and they have really great produce. So I get like fresh berries. Um, they just, yeah. And then everything's obviously in bulk. So I just live by myself. So I'm like, all right, I don't need everything, but it ends up working out because I will get like certain things like Greek yogurt from there, berries, eggs sometimes, and just some staples. So I always have a stocked kitchen. Like that's the one thing I won't do without because if I have an empty kitchen, I end up like ordering something that's not that healthy. And that's the thing. Like I really try to focus on having a stocked refrigerator and fridge and kitchen so that I have healthy choices. When I'm feeling lazy and I don't want to cook, there's some really great options for just like for instance, all the chain salad places, right? Like Sweet Green, there's Chopped, there, and then and when I'm in the Philadelphia area, there's Salad Works. So it's like I know where I can go get low carbish, like healthy, but also like filling salads. So I don't have to think about, and I know which salads are, are relatively lower in carbs. So it just, yeah. So those are my go-tos. Yeah, there's also a really delicious Venezuelan corn. There's a corn cake sandwich called cachapas. Yeah, and there's a restaurant nearby that sells them, and it's like high in protein. It's not glutinous because it's made out of corn pancakes. And that's like a great, like, you know what, I don't want to cook, but I don't want to go break the bank in terms of my carbs, so I'll order from there.
Yeah.
Um,
I love you've got people chiming in. Fatima's like, I love that. Like, I'm
yeah,
like, I've never heard of this. I need to go find out what it is
yeah.
immediately.
It's some of these things like hit the spot, and then also it's like, yeah, I know it may seem pedestrian, but I really love tacos. Like I love tacos so much I could marry them. Like that's how much I love tacos.
Yes.
So so the corn tortillas are not crazy high in carbs, and
Oh, no.
yeah, so like that's like a good, like, and I always have like lettuce, tomato, and onions.
Yeah.
I try to put some cilantro on the side, so it's like a great, like, throw that together
Yeah.
kind of meal. So yeah, that's like, and that's the thing. Like during the week, depending on the day that I'm having, I may not want to like cook a full meal, but I find at least for breakfast and lunch, like those are things when I wake up early enough, like I don't have to stress out about it if it's just routine.
Yeah.
So like, it's like I just have
Yeah.
my go-to. It's like I'm on autopilot and I don't have to think about it. So that if I chose to say have something a little bit richer in carbs in the evening, then it's not gonna like break the bank.
Yes. Like it, that's it. And you are just like, the balance is so lovely to hear from you. Like, I feel like you're ready for this next phase. I loved what you said so much. As I say, I'm working with my amazing, she's like an unbelievable, like, visualization. She brings a lot of my vision to life in terms of our, you know, what we put out there. And I was trying to visualize like what real weight loss looks like. And you said it so nicely. And I'm trying to have it drawn up, which is like, it doesn't go like this. And
Mhm.
anyone who tells you that is lying. Real, honest, lasting weight loss has like a downward trajectory that if you pinpointed it, it would look like a downward line if you took out all of all the ups and downs.
Mhm.
But it is very fluctuating as you come down, and it has its moments. And if you can get used to that, and you can hold on to the fact that the trajectory is downward. I was talking to a person who's on a vacation this week, and I was like, let's just aim for maintenance. And maintenance is
Mhm.
plus or minus 2 pounds. So if
Right.
she comes back 2 pounds higher, she actually maintained her weight during her vacation. Right. So, like, really thinking about like reducing that anxiety around the scale having a number that's higher, but putting it in perspective of like, I am actually maintaining right now.
Right. Right. And I find it like, because, you being an old Weight Watchers executive, Liz,
Yeah.
like I, well, too, I had done Weight Watchers. And I don't, and I think back on it, it's not nice to say this about myself, but I was a Weight Watchers recidivist. I would go track my points, lose weight, but I always had that diet mentality. And so, I would kind of fall off track. I would maybe have the Werthers and then kind of spiral into more sugar.
Yeah.
And so that, and then I would be like, oh, like, you know, I would be annoyed with myself for not being consistent and then kind of fall off track. But, had I had more of the mentality of, okay, you slipped up, you're going to get back on track with this. And knowing that, yes, maybe your weight like didn't go down or you maintain your weight that week. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're not being successful.
Right.
Because I think that's where a lot of people get derailed is like, hey, how come I didn't lose weight this week? Or how did it go up? I mean, there's so many factors. Like if you start working out and start, weight training, you're gonna gain muscle weight. Like you're gonna retain water. Like there's so many factors that go into weight loss or and when people don't see the downward trend, they shouldn't feel bad about that. Like it's not.
And this thing is like this complex, beautiful machine.
Mm-hmm.
And by reducing it to a number on a scale,
Yeah.
it's so punitive and it's so negative. And like to be like, oh, I love you, body. Like you've been with me from birth and we've done so many things together. And oh, you allowed me to go bike riding today and then swimming and watch those people. Like this is our vehicle for life. Like it is our vehicle to allow us to live a life. And by saying like it's bad or we're bad for a fluctuation in our weight when this is a complex machine. I love that we're talking about this. Even like August can be the hottest month of the year, like heat. This
Mhm.
complex machine, what it
Right.
does when it's hot out, it says, I'm not going to let go of any of this water.
Hmm.
I tell you this all the time. You can only live 2 days with no water. You can live 30 days with no food. But like, I love my body and I puff up in August. Like they're often, I'm seeing 2 and 3 pound puff ups. And
Hmm.
I say, I love you. Let me drink some more water. Make sure you feel safe. But thank you for taking care of me. Not
Hmm.
I'm a bad person who gained
Right.
2 pounds, which is
Yeah.
that's where this industry has gone to, which is like the real like negative idea around this beautiful machine. Let's
Mhm.
respect the machine. Let's do the things that make it feel good, right? We've touched on routine makes it feel really safe, and let's not ever make ourselves bad or wrong for going and seeing family, enjoying ourselves, but then returning to routines that make us feel our best, right? And I think you've really done such a beautiful job of outlining what Target 100 is all about, which is learning. And then what happens when you learn to respect yourself and your process and what's right for you, this does not become a negative experience, which is what dieting always was for me in the
Right.
past. It
Yeah.
becomes quite self loving and reflective, and I learn about myself all the time, all the time. I'm thinking about Greece, like I'm still in this process with all of you guys. I'm not sitting on the sidelines like watching you all and saying like try to be perfect, like what I've done. No, I experienced such an amazing thing in Greece in that like I didn't eat past fullness probably for the first time in my life on a vacation, because it was always for me vacation was, oh, get it all in because when you go home you're not going to do this anymore. And it wasn't that. There was none of that. There was so much peace. And that's, I have learned over time just by doing
Hmm.
vacation after vacation. It's like eating and enjoying the food. And instead of grasping at it as it the last time I will ever have it, being in love with the moment of having it instead.
Hmm.
So I share all these things and I ask you to share because we really need to reframe this whole thing that we're doing when we ask our bodies to maybe reduce weight that doesn't make us feel good, not because we're bad people or because we need to be a size 2 or not any of that, but because we actually have a better quality of life and more enjoyment of the food and of the activity if we really are aware. So
Hmm.
there I had a moment of soapbox, but you inspired it. So
Hmm. That's
um
great.
yeah.
That's very cool. Yeah, I
Well,
think. Oh, yeah. Sorry,
go
let's
ahead.
go on.
Please go. Yeah.
Oh no, I think that's you. I mean, it's interesting because I will hear myself talk and know the talking point. So you always like summarize it so nicely. So thank you. It's very helpful to hear it too. Like I live it and I think it, but then to hear it also really reinforces that. So thanks, Liz.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate your time. I mean, goodness gracious, I hope this was helpful to you, but I think we have a really nice plan. I think really it's all about stress relief for you in the next few weeks, which is is the setting up of the routine in your school life of stress relief,
Right.
right? That's really where our focus is like, how do I trigger these moments in the morning and in the
Mhm.
midday area of my life that I would have time to reduce that stress and come back in and be so re-engaged in my life that I'm more productive than I would
Mhm.
have been without it. So I
Mhm.
hope that's a helpful thing to touchstone to hold on
Absolutely.
to, right? And
Absolutely.
thinking through the lens of routine, the lens of routine. I'm just
Hmm.
gonna, I'm just gonna create a routine to the point where my brain says, we can't not go on this walk, right?
Hmm.
Shave the haircut, 2 bits. That's how
Hmm.
I'm going to do it until it's shave and haircut 2 bits.
Right. Right. I'm
So
looking forward to that.
yeah, it takes work. It takes that consistency and like that going through that like moment where the brain says like, I don't want to do this.
Mhm.
But I love it. So for anybody watching, I hope this was super helpful. We do have our beginner courses are starting up, which is where Esther started with us, our 10-week courses where you get a beautiful box in the mail. You get to attend courses with our unbelievable coaches. I'm there. We have a platform for you to join us. If you've been thinking about it, I hope you will join it. It's kind of a life-changing event. Our community is incredible. We have our sugar challenge getting started that you're going to be a part of as
Mhm.
well, just to cut out that extra sugar that gets started in the summer. It's just that accordion, honestly, in summer. And then to take that 7-day period with us and just cut that sugar out is so, so helpful. So I hope you guys will join us. For those of people who have been with us, we have next level classes and mastery classes starting as well. So there's lots and lots of ways to engage with Target 100. If you're ready to change your life, please, please, please join us. So
Awesome.
thank you, Esther.
Thank you, Liz. It was a
You
pleasure.
are
Thank
now
you
an official OG rock star.
so much. I aspire to be even more so. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you guys for all being here. This was amazing. And we'll see you in the Facebook community and beyond. Bye, Esther.
Bye, everyone. Bye, Liz.
Bye.